Hello and good day, Welcome to the Super Good Camping Podcast. My name is Pamela.
I'm Tim.
And we are from supergoodcamping.com. We're here on a mission to inspire other people to get outside and enjoy camping adventures such as we have as a family. Today's guest is the owner of a paddling gear company that has been around since 2001. He is an intrepid adventurer. 3 words that best define intrepid are fearless, adventurous, and daring. As he often canoe trips with Kevin Callan, he absolutely owns these traits. Please welcome from Recreational Barrel Works, Andy Baxter. Yay, welcome.
Hey, good to be here. Thanks.
Thanks for coming. Yes,
Thanks.
Intrepid. That's
Yes.
We've seen the Intrepid. I've read the book about the Intrepid. How's your knee?
Oh yeah, it's fine now. It's been a long time since we went around Algonquin Park, but my knees hurt for like months after that trip. So, but that was a lot of portaging.
Well, and what was the revenge trip?
There was a payback trip.
Yeah.
Well, I worked the next year. I worked up Kevin. I said, "Oh, we're going somewhere, and I hope you'll be okay." And I've got my heaviest duty whitewater canoe. The newest one that I could get, so it can take the punishment. And like the sweat was pouring off them, and even on the drive up, no, I can't really tell you where we're going. And then, we got to pull in here and get more bear spray. And then this person's going to do a shuttle for us. So hop in and I didn't have the seats in the back of the van. So he had to sit on the floor, for, anyway, we finally got where we were going, and it was the Key River, and we paddled down the coast of Georgian Bay. So no portaging compared to the miles and whatever kilometers we did in Algonquin Park, and so it turned out a lot less stressful than I worked him up to be. But that was my revenge for that. So.
Well, and you two did it. I can't believe this. We're immediately going into Kevin Callan stories, but didn't you two do like a crazy one way out in the middle of nowhere? That where they said portages, where you guys were like, where is that port? There, it hasn't been used in 25 years. Like that's not a portage.
Yeah, that was a couple of summers back where we went to Opishque or Opasquia, which is way up north of Red Lake, and takes a couple hours just to fly in there. And so yeah, that was a tough slog because we had to we had to make portages because they weren't there, and bushwhack our way through, and those trips are always really tough, not necessarily on the physical side of things, but the mental side of things, that and the frustration that you should be making more progress, and it shouldn't be this difficult to make a distance of 400 meters, and but those are some of the trips you get into, and whether it's with Kevin or my wife and I have done trips like that, and they're not all like that, but sometimes that's what you get. And if trying to plan ahead, doing as much research as you can to be as prepared as you can. And we took 6 rolls of brand new flagging tape on that trip, and we used 4.5 of those rolls. So yeah,
that's a lot, man. Well, cool. I'm glad. I mean, I'm glad you guys both came out the other side of it.
Yeah.
But it sounded. It's always amazing to be that far out in nature. That distant from the clamoring and the noise and like all the things that we have to deal with every day. I don't know that I would have enjoyed anything of that trip, just other than the solitude. That would have been awesome, but man,
Yeah.
that was insane. I mean, cool, but insane.
No,
You're a better man than I.
no, it's like it's all relative, and like we plan to do a lot further distance on that trip, and um, but you adjust, and you realize we're not making the distance that we were hoping to, so this trip is not going to cover all the kilometers we wanted to originally, and that's okay. We're just gonna make our progress and be safe, and enjoy what we are seeing. And there was lots of cool stuff to see. So especially being in a part of Ontario that we hadn't been before. So yeah,
Yeah,
we,
that's always cool.
we saw it was a fisher, I think, or a martin. I'm sorry, a martin, but it had a really unique white V pattern on its chest, and I'd never seen that before. At first we were like, "Is that like a giant, mink, or what is that?" Anyway, so it was lots of neat things to see in the forest types up there. So.
Very cool. Well, you talk about tripping with your wife. What were you into tripping before that? And then the two of you started tripping together. How did you get into tripping?
Yeah, that's a great question, because I had only done a couple of canoe trips as a kid. But my dad took us to Algonquin Park, and it stuck with me. I loved that, and Marion and I met in high school, and by the time we were like 19 or 20, I said to her at one point, I'd like to go do canoe tripping, and she says, I've always wanted to do that. And so we actually learned how to canoe trip together. It was, we started with all the crappiest gear, or, and stuff that we, either cobbled together or rented, and, watch the canoe almost slide off the roof, on some of those
Been there.
early journeys. And anyway, we learned to do it together, and just built that experience over time, and went from Algonquin to Killarney, and then, a little further afield, and Quetico, and then woodland caribou, and then Wabakimi and whatnot. So we at the time we were living in Toronto and commuting, driving up for those vacations, and we finally said, we're spending all our time up north. Why don't we move up north? Is that, So we ended up moving to Nipigon, which is at the top of Lake Superior, and we lived there. I got a job up there, and we lived and worked there for like 8 years. All the kids were born in Thunder Bay, and so it was great, because we were much closer to all that tripping up there, and it was great to be there. It was almost like I remember thinking, I don't know if I ever want to move south of the French River. It's I love the north, and then when an opportunity in Peterborough came up, I thought, that's a lot south of the French River. But anyway, we ended up coming here, and it was a great move, because at that time, then the kids were getting on in school, and they ended up all going to Trent here, and that saved about $8 million right there.
Yeah, no kidding.
So anyway, that all worked out for everybody, and obviously much more opportunity in a larger city like Peterborough, even close to Toronto if you want to do that stuff, compared to Nipigon, which was you know, a 13-hour drive or so from here. So, but that's how we gradually learned how to trip together. I remember our first, Marion and I, when we went to Woodland Caribou. It was 1989 was our first trip there, and we contacted a fly-in outfitter and said, yeah, we want to like start by road here down at the bottom right corner, and we're going to paddle all the way up to the top left corner, and then hopefully you can fly us out, and a couple weeks later, is that okay? And he's like, yeah, that sounds great, no problem. And so we get there, and we get to his lodge, where his base basically, and he's like, oh, okay, well, I'll drive you to the put-in, and then we'll see you in a couple of weeks when I come to pick you up. And I was like, that's perfect. And so he drives us to the put-in in our vehicle, and then heads off as we start to paddle out into the lake, and then I'm realizing none of the features of this lake are lining up to the where we're supposed to start. And I'm like, trying to figure it out, and it's like we're not on the right lake. And I get out my compass, and I'm like, well, this is not good. The compass isn't even working. It was not even spinning around. It was just stuck in one position, and then we could hear some forestry workers, off in the distance, and we'll go talk to them. They'll fill us in. We'll get set straight. Went over and talked to them. None of them spoke English. It was they all spoke French. And all they were saying was like, hey, we don't cut beyond the ribbon line. That's, it's like, oh, okay, that's good. That's the Caribou Park, but where the heck are we? We don't know. We just stay up against the line, no problem. And our foreman will know. Okay, where's your foreman? He's back at camp. It's like, where's camp? That's like 20 miles away. Oh, and so these guys loaded us into their pickup truck, drove us all the way back to camp, waited for the foreman to come back from his fishing excursion, and finally talked to him, and he said, oh, yeah, you guys just turned in one road too soon. You should have gone one road up, and then you would have started where you wanted to start. So the next morning, because by then it's night, and so Marion and I camp behind this forestry, logging camp facility, which is all trailers, right? And we camp there for the night, get up early in the morning, pile back into this nice guy George's pickup truck. I still remember George, and of course he's like got just a basic pickup truck, and he's driving these roads where I'm thinking, you need 4-wheel drive, and he's like, nah, it's okay. And Marion's sitting in the middle, and I'm there, and the little air fresheners dangling off the rear view mirror, and it's a naked woman, of course, and anyway, George drives us back, calm as anything, takes us to the right spot, and waves us off, and we finally got underway in the right Liano Lake. And nowadays it's like signed to the hilt, and you wouldn't believe me that anyone ever got lost going there. But anyway, we had a great trip, and flew out of Artery Lake at the end of that. And but Marion's a real trooper for putting up with all the shenanigans we've been through at various places. So
that's one of the best things. That the worst trips, not necessarily the worst, the most eventful trips are the ones that make the best memories, the best stories.
Yeah. So, but yeah, I mean, the rest of that trip, there's paddling along, and hummingbirds stopping and, over top of the bright PFD. And we saw woodland caribou. We saw cow and calf. We saw another small group, that swam away from the shoreline at our campsite. And so it was, and then the fishing was, like, so good that you didn't have to really worry about it. If you wanted to fish, you could just, throw a line in and get a fish. And so anyway, that's it was a great trip, and we didn't get lost after that. After that rough start.
Very cool. Okay, so well, we can talk camping stories all night long. We may talk about some more. I'm curious, how did you? So you have Recreational Barrel Works, which is not just barrels. You got a bunch of stuff. How did you get started in that? Where did that sort of come from?
Well, back in 2001, the only one who had barrels before that time was Trailhead, and Trailhead was really hit and miss on their supply of barrels, and so it wasn't a regular supply. There was some used barrels coming into the market also, and used barrels are just such a roll of the dice because you never know what chemicals or other things have been in there before. And I thought, well, and I was at the time helping out my friends Bill and Ann Ostrom at trade shows. And he wanted to sell harnesses. And I said, you're going to sell more harnesses if, people can buy the barrel with the harness. And he goes, yeah, but barrels are a hassle. And I said, okay, I'll do the barrels, bring them to the shows, and sell them there with your harnesses and stuff. So that was the genesis, years ago. And then over time, we've just started adding all the organizers for the barrels and our own harness and packs and accessories and waterproof map cases and all sorts of stuff over time now. So yeah, that's really a regular supply of new, not used barrels was the driver for starting Recreational Barrel Works, and it just grew over time. We, as earlier, I think you mentioned how I'm not on social media, and we don't really advertise, and it's mostly been word of mouth, and which is nice because it's like, it's when someone's telling, a fellow paddler's telling you about it, it's that's good. And we don't have time for social media is the real truth. But we're busy enough keeping up with supplying stores across Canada and in the States, and there's like four or five stores in Europe now that carry Recreational Barrel Works products, and along with shipping from our own online store all over the world. So it's busy. We're probably too busy, but that's not a bad problem to have. So
it's not, and I'm sure your wife is happy that you're staying more out of trouble because you're busy.
Yeah, well, I think we need to work on prioritizing, organizing our own fun, as well as taking care of business. So, but fortunately, we've done that off and on. We've got to do it more, but there's always room for more fun.
Totally agree. If you wouldn't mind, just to I suppose backtrack a little bit for those that are tuning in that don't know what a barrel is for. Maybe you could share that.
Sure. Yeah. A barrel. It's a high density polyethylene plastic barrel with a wide opening that is used to store. Mostly, people use it on camping trips for their food, and the reason for that is it seals airtight, so smells aren't getting out and attracting critters, and water's not getting in and damaging your food. And that's what barrels are primarily used for. Some people call them bear barrels or bear proof, and they're not. A bear can rip your car door open. So, given time, it'll get into a barrel. And in fact, all of those bear containers that you see on the market, they're only rated for a half hour to keep a bear out, and then after that, they're breached also. So, anyway, it's the good thing is keeping them clean. Smells aren't getting out and attracting critters, and most of your problems on a camping trip are mice and squirrels and
Raccoons.
Yeah, those critters, and so the best thing is always to hang your food, whether it's in a barrel or not, and but people who trip further north where the trees aren't big enough or they're not there at all, they don't have an option for that. So it's, you walk it away from the campsite and take it off the critter trails and secure it so it doesn't get knocked into the water and float away by accident. So that's the advice that we always give to folks. So
cool. I will say your doesn't get knocked in the water and float away. That was I have heard a story about a trip. A bunch of people. There was a capsizing, and the only gear that they were able to recover was the barrel because it floated.
Yeah.
Everything else went down. Didn't have enough. Had too much weight. Much as it was waterproof and sealed, had too much weight, not enough buoyancy. So
yeah. Well,
bummer.
On my whitewater solo trips, all the gear goes into barrels, and I lash one in front of me in the canoe, I lash the other one behind me, and it becomes flotation for the canoe, and using two barrels like that. So they're not they're not great at everything. Like it's there's always pros and cons to any solution that you choose. But barrels have been widely adopted into the Canadian paddling world, and at least the canoeing side of things, and also in it's funny because in the States the uptake on barrels was at least 10 to 15 years behind what it was and is here in Canada. So they're still really discovering barrels down in paddling in the U.S. So
yeah, there's a bit of a heated discussion continuing to go on about hang or not hang down there.
Yeah.
At least what little bit that I tune in for. Tell us some of the other things. I know you've got a cooler pack for the barrel, but I know you also have other things like waterproof bags that essentially can line your backpack, things like that. Tell me some of the other wonderful things that you've got on your product line.
Well, yeah, it's amazing. I was looking at our product line the other day because we you have to put a unique code on everything, a unique barcode, and we're almost to the 100 mark already, and so there's barrels in the standard blue color. We've got orange barrels that are new this year. We've got
Red barrels.
the red barrels were new last year, and I think we're all sold out of those now. And so anyway, there's our canoe packs. We got about four different models of canoe packs. We've got another couple of canoe packs in our heritage line of canoe packs. We've got which are the heritage line are basically a lower, wider canoe pack, and often best suited carrying with a tump, as well as shoulder straps. And we created a Wanigan harness. So traditionally Wanigans were only ever carried with a tump line, and I thought there's got to be a better way. So we created a flexible harness that goes around the box that a Wanigan typically is. But there's also a padded back pad that you can add on there, and as well as shoulder straps and the traditional tump line. So you can have it all and make it a comfortable carry, or you can go old school and just use the tump line. But yeah, that was interesting to develop, especially because most people make their own Wanigan, and it's, you never know what size it is. So we had to make it our solution so it's flexible to fit different sizes. Even it'll work on those plastic Wanigans that you can see being sold in some places. So yeah, we've got the waterproof liners that you mentioned, Tim. Those are for the inside of the canoe packs, and they're just giant dry bags, but rather than them being in the heavy PVC material, they're in a lighter material that doesn't add as much weight, and meant to be used just on the inside of the pack. And the pack will take your beating and your abuse, and the liner is actually bigger than the pack, so it'll expand to the size of your pack, and not put any pressure on the waterproofing seams that are all taped in the dry bag liner, and protect its integrity. So, which is good. I mean, a lot of people just use the rubberized packs that have shoulder straps on them, and that's good. That works great until they get a puncture in them, or typically though the harness carrying system on those packs isn't as good as you would get on a canoe pack, or at least some of the more structured canoe packs, and so anyway, a lot of people who use those end up using our liners inside them anyways, either as a fail-safe, or the reality is that after your first night camping, you're trying to stuff your clothes and your sleeping bag and your wet tent and your wet tarp inside also, and you're going, oh geez, now it's all commingling again. So anyway, that's keeping those things separate inside whatever pack you're using is helped with one of those waterproof liners. And we even made a shorter one this year as one of our new products that works in our heritage line better. So it's not as tall, and or if you're only waterproofing half the contents of your pack, that works in that situation also. So we've got what's really fun, for me, is solving a design problem, or filling a little niche of a product that, and it's not just me that's thinking this stuff up. There's people all over are saying, I wish there was a solution for X, and I'm like, oh yeah, and the whole dialogue starts, and next thing you know, it hopefully comes to something where, our whole heritage line started like that. It was a traditional paddler who always used canvas packs and cedar canvas canoes, and he said, my packs are wearing out, and I only carry them with the tump line, but I can't get them anymore, and I have one of your other packs, and I love how sturdy it is, and can you make my old style packs in the new materials? And I said, maybe, let's see. And he I was the one who added shoulder straps and back pads and some of the amenities, but it was based on his very simple packs, and now he's using the Voyager pack and the Courier 2-part pack, and he's happy as anything with those. He sent me photos of them all stacked up on his back, and he still just uses the tump line. He doesn't need the shoulder straps, but anyway, it's really fun to I look at our products as a collaboration of the paddling community that keeps pouring the ideas in to see product improve as much as we can never get it improved, and or new ideas, and that's from outfitters or schools or camps or stores. It comes from all over, and so I love that creative side of the business, which starts as a germ of an idea about what about something like this, and it's like, yeah, that could work, or it's figuring out how to do it in a way that makes the most sense, and would hopefully be embraced by as many paddlers as possible. So, and in fact, the frustration of using waterproof map cases, which I don't know how many you've used over time, but they are not waterproof. They might be waterproof the first couple go rounds, or until the weather gets cold, or until a grain of sand shows up, or until you actually dip them into water and realize, oh, they're not, and that level of frustration is what I had over time, and then that led to our waterproof map case, which is the paddler's map case. And we use a waterproof zipper like you would in a dry suit to totally seal the map case. And it is, it's spent hours underwater, testing and I'm like, this is actually working, and this is fantastic because it's truly waterproof. It is, it's got the features on it that I was looking for, which was big enough to hold multiple topographic maps, had D-rings on it so I could connect it to, where I'm looking at it in the canoe, or I can connect it onto my pack as I'm portaging, and that sort of thing. And when we came out with them, people were like snapping them up, and then the only complaint that we ever had was that they were too big. And and I'm like, okay, and people would explain, well, you put a couple of things in it, smaller items, And we don't use large topographic maps like, you originally were targeting. And I said, okay, I get it. And a lot of the Quebec paddlers would contact me and say, we go to this one website, we get all our maps off of there, we print them out on 8.5 by 11 or 8.5 by 14 at most. That's all we need in our map case. And I'm like, okay, that's great. So anyway, this year, one of our new products was a smaller version of that. We call it our medium paddlers map case. And again, it's the collaboration of folks who use the gear that, make a suggestion. And it's like, well, if they're saying something, it might be just one person who's interested in that, but I bet you there's more than just that one person. And usually that's what plays out. We bring a product out and it gets used and bought and some of them go obviously a lot faster than the more niche products, but that's okay. It's we kind of like being in that niche territory where we don't have to turn things over like, in half a year and sell them all out, in the big business style. It's just Marion and I, and we're happy to see those products sell, whether it's quickly or whether it's over time. And that's always been the case. I mean, sometimes we've had our Happy Camper edition of Canoe Pack, and sometimes those have sold out in like two days, that sort of thing. And then we changed the model a little bigger, a little more expensive, fancier model that we came out with a year ago. And it started selling fast, right off the hop, and then it slowed down. It was like, oh, okay, that's. But the last one of those got shipped out earlier this month, so eventually they all go, whether it's less than a year or 3 years, whatever. It's just nice to see the gear all getting new homes and appreciated. So. And always looking for that the feedback to how can we make it better, and go from there. So
That's awesome.
Anything you want to ask?
No.
Just a comment on the map. I can understand the waterproof case when sometimes where people just want a smaller one. But when I saw weird story, I was at the Toronto show, not this year, last year, and Evan Lefebvre had one in his hands, and I looked at it and went, "Oh, I need to get one of those," because I try to. I mean, you're navigating in very close quarters. You're looking at all the landmarks that are close to you and stuff, but I'm trying to plan ahead while we're paddling as wind changes, whatever. To be able to look at that big of a snapshot instead of that big of a snapshot, especially as some of the map makers are making, I don't know if the right term, smaller scale. It's a more blown up map.
Yeah,
it's not 50,000 to 1. It's 20,000 to 1, right?
Yeah.
So you can look at a bigger picture in that big map case. And I went, but nobody bought one for me for Christmas, so I'm really disappointed. Just saying. Father's Day's coming up.
No, that's it is one of the interesting. We clearly hit that that all the check boxes of many of the paddlers in that map case. For there's instructors that are Greenland kayak paddling, and they're like, I got to get 20 of these, for my class. And there's those folks. There's I think we shipped one to New Zealand the other day, and um, there's lots of great feedback and positive response on the map case. So yeah, it's it, I'm it's nice when something works out like that, and it gets paddlers who've been through other map cases, they'll get it. And it's, again, all of our stuff, we don't price it crazy high. It's like it's either quite affordable, or right in the pack of similar products. And so we're not. In fact, a lot of people have said that to us, whether they're stores or individuals, like, you folks should charge more for this stuff. And it's like, look, we're not here to gouge people either. We're paddlers making gear that we want to use, and at affordable prices, and we're happy to make it quality and functional, and that's our boxes that we like to check. So
Cool. Well, I'm glad you're doing it. We have a 60 liter, 60 gallon. No, 60 liter.
yeah.
One of the red ones from last year.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, it's great. I loved it. It was awesome. Especially when I think originally the gasket was thick. I thought it was just a pansy bedwetter, and that's why I couldn't get it to get the lid on and get it to lock. It's like,
Yeah.
come on, what am I going to do with this in the backcountry? And then there was an email. It's like, oh, we're going to send you a new one. It'll fit better. It's like, oh, okay, maybe I'm not a pansy bedwetter. Maybe I am, but not in this case.
No, that's see, that's the other good thing about the people that we work with on getting our barrels, creating those different color barrels, or creating the products. They've been really responsive, and it's funny because we did our samples on those barrels, and they came in and they all checked out. And then when they did the production run, they put in a thicker gasket and that's what ended up being tough to close. And I ended up, I scratched my head, I did all sorts of tests, and then finally I dug out the gaskets and measured them compared to the sample that we had, and they were clearly thicker. And when I sent that information off, and I said, we gotta fix this, and they sent a whole new set of gaskets for the whole run. And the only downside is that I had to install them all, or the ones that weren't sold yet, and send them out to the customers who'd already bought one. But we got that sorted out, and that was a good lesson learned there. So.
Yeah, well, that's a great relationship with the production partner, I guess.
Yeah,
good deal.
I could talk paddling.
You and me both, but she would leave. we would just be sitting here having that conversation. We wouldn't even bother recording.
Well, do you guys normally do all sorts of backcountry and front country camping, or?
Mostly by canoe. Usually in provincial parks, although we have done some crown lands. Pamela is sort of being reintroduced to backcountry. I did a very bad thing many years ago and way oversubscribed our abilities. Took the entire family, and it was a debacle of a trip. So backed up. Our eldest continued to be interested in going. The other two were not anymore. So he and I trip. We've never done fly-in, but we trip all the time. Pamela has started to come back out. We did a Massasauga a couple of years back. We did one out to Philip Edward Island last September. I'm trying to get us into Frontenac this year, but man, it's proven tough to book. That sort of deal. So we don't hike unless you count carrying a canoe as hiking. Most of the time it's an 8-day ish backcountry in a canoe.
Nice. Oh, that's good. I mean, some people think, oh, you can only, unless you're doing what I do, it's like, well, no, wait a minute. Everyone has their own way of enjoying the outdoors. And whether that's in a 20-foot camper or, in a 20-foot canoe, whatever, so.
Yeah,
and that,
absolutely agreed.
Yeah. No, I remember carrying our 20-foot canoe, for years because we had 3 children, and before they were old enough to help mom paddle their own canoe, we were all 5 of us plus the gear in one canoe. So
that's a full canoe, man.
Yeah, and I mean the only company that made a 20-foot canoe back then was Old Town, and they made a 20-foot Old Town tripper, and that was like, I think it was 105 pounds before you put anything on it. Yeah, so anyway, but what us whack jobs will do to keep going out into the bush, it's amazing. So
yeah, no, I totally agree. We went from I want to say it was 92 pounds, 93 pounds, 17-foot Scott fiberglass to, I can't even think of who the heck we've got. Whatever. We've got a Kevlar one now that's like 42 pounds. Yeah. What a world of difference. Just stunning. And it's still pretty bomb proof. Like we've bashed into a bunch of stuff, and
yeah,
I think after about 4 or 5 years, I had it re-gel coated just because it was getting pretty scratched up, but it's all good, man. Where can people get a hold of you? Website? Is there a phone number?
Oh yeah.
Email?
Yeah. So there's our gear's available at lots of outdoor stores. So ask your local outdoor store if they whatever you're looking for. On our website, www.recreationalbarrelworks.com, there is a list of vendors, so you can look up if there's somebody close to you that carries our stuff, or you can order it right from our website if that's a better option for you. And we also have a toll-free number, 1-866-222-6311. So the only thing you can't get us on is social media. So, but that's just me and my antisocial nature, I guess it is.
So I've noticed every time we see it at the shows, you don't want to talk to anybody. Yeah.
Such an introvert.
He is. He is. All right, the young lady's going to do the outro, and we'll wrap her up.
All right. That's it for us for today. Thank you so much to Andy Baxter from Recreational Barrel Works for joining us. Please check them out, recreationalbarrelworks.com. And if you want to check us out, we are on all the social media. We are also on YouTube, and you can reach us anytime at hi@supergoodcamping.com. That's hi@supergoodcamping.com. And we'll talk to you again soon. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you.